Well, it was a 5-hour round trip and over 320 miles traveled in the car to Greenville, North Carolina for the 2019 3rd District Republican Party Convention in the great state of North Carolina. This particular district convention, let me start by saying this. There's a little bit of a backstory to this. Sort of an inspiration for attending this convention. That was a 5-hour car ride. Well, 2.5 hours to Greenville, 2.5 hours back to home in Greensboro. Okay, green. The backstory versus me attending 2 conventions in the Charlotte area, which would have been, instead of 5 hours round trip, only about 3 hours round trip in the car. Way back in 2013, I'd found out about the proceedings of the 3rd District Convention. And that convention started at 10, I believe it was 9 or 10 in the morning, and it went all the way till about 8 o'clock at night. Okay, and I'm thinking to myself, great, a nice long convention, because I've always been a fan of long meetings. I've always been a fan of long conventions. I know it sounds weird, but that's kind of who I am as a person. Hey, look, we're all unique. We all have our own little quirks, right? We're all created by God. Amen. 2013, they had an officer election, and apparently it went really long. It went, I guess, about 3 or 4 ballots, and the biggest thing was that at this time, part of the county I was living in, New Hanover County, down the Wilmington area, part of it was in the 3rd District. Now, I was actually in the 7th Congressional District, but at the time, if you were to go back and look at the map of the 3rd District, what had happened in New Hanover County, it had taken a piece of the northern part of New Hanover County along the I-140 bypass that goes around the northern part of Wilmington, and it had taken that piece, the Castle Hayne area, the airport, and most of downtown Wilmington, taking that whole piece into the 3rd District. What was in the 7th District was everything else, Pleasure Island, Wrightsville Beach, Monkey Junction, the college area, Midtown, all that was in 7th District. But because our county was split at the time, I had heard about the 3rd District, and about how a delegate, I believe his name is Michael Franklin, he cast a deciding vote to elect Kim Cotton West as the new chairperson of the 3rd District, and she served 2 terms, and now the chairman is Carl Miska. Kim Cotton West is now serving, she's still very active in the North Carolina Republican Party. She is more in a background role, but it's still an important role. She is currently running the DCCA, which is the District Chairs and the County Chairs Association of the North Carolina GOP. Okay. So I decided in 2014, after hearing that convention went 10 hours long, and apparently there was a lot of fierce debate over plan of organization, platform, and resolutions, everything else that came down the pike as a business item was fiercely debated. I even had one of my friends in the Young Republicans at the time, they said that it's just so annoying. I think they lived in Pender County, I believe. But it was, they told me that it's just so annoying how they want to debate every single little period and cross every T. I think is what they said. But anyway, 2014, I went to the 3rd District Convention, and I was not disappointed. Now, there was no officer elections, but the convention still went, it was about 6 hours long. Started about 9 or 10 in the morning, went to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the thing about the 4 o'clock, it ended at 4 o'clock. It had to end at 4 o'clock because the 3rd District had only rented the building until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there was still plenty of unfinished business, a lot of fierce debate on everything, but it was a great time. My only problem with the 3rd District is they charge an arm and a leg to attend. There's a lot of other districts that charge. Some are free to attend, like District 7, I think District 10 is free. Some charge $10 to $20, but 3rd District, now in 2014, they had 2 options. You could, for $35, you could attend the convention but also get a boxed lunch. Or for $15, you could just attend the convention and, bring along some snacks to eat. I chose option B, the $15 one in 2014, because when it comes to lunch, I'm a bit of a picky eater. I like a hot lunch. I do not like cold cuts, okay? Cold sandwiches. The only kind of boxed lunch I like is like cold fried chicken or something like that. That's like the only thing I will eat cold, unless it's like dessert, like ice cream or something. That's obvious, but cold food that is non-dessert, I'm very picky about. Okay, so I did not elect to do the boxed lunch. I still remember I went up there, New Hanover County. In 2014, we were still part of the 3rd District, but I was a guest because I was in District 7, and the chairman at the time, Sam Ibrahim, I remember him offering me to take me out to lunch or so. I was like, oh, let's go, Sam, because I brought along some roasted almonds and some I think Gatorade or some kind of energy drink. So it was a small lunch, but it got me through the day. Okay. The 2018 convention. This convention, I had an okay time, all right, but it was sort of like a lot of you, a lot of you watching, especially if you're around my age or in your early 30s or whatever. You know how a lot of us have good mothers, right? Very good mothers who love us and care for us, and every so often they'll have us over for dinner. Okay. Pretty much all of what my mom cooks is good, okay? But there are dishes that I like a little bit better than others, okay? When I went to the district convention in 2014, that was the equivalent of my mom cooking up barbecue salmon. One of my favorite dishes my mom cooks is barbecue salmon. It is spectacular. And she usually does a homemade macaroni and cheese as a side item. Excellent, okay? At the 2019 3rd District Convention, this was more of my mom cooking grilled chicken and whole parsley potatoes. The meal was still good, but it just was nowhere near as good as the barbecue salmon. So I hope you kind of get where I'm coming from as far as the 3rd District. It was a little disappointing. And this year, there was 2 options. There was a $40 option. You got the convention and you got the boxed lunch. Okay. Or if you waited until like a week before the registry, you had to pay $50, convention and boxed lunch. There was no, and I really wish they still would have, there was no option where you just pay for convention and do lunch on your own, which they should keep, in my opinion. But okay. Let me get down to the meat and potatoes of this convention. We started, the call to order was at 9:38 a.m. that morning. Carl Miska, the chair of the 3rd District, said, The start was delayed by 8 minutes because we had counties that did not have enough chairs for our delegates. And he said, look, that's why I highly recommend that y'all pre-register next year. And instead of waiting until the day of, and then they don't have enough chairs, and then the convention just does not run as good. Okay. Oh yeah. Let me talk to you about registration. It was weird. I told people I was a guest. Okay. And not only that, but I had registered online and paid like 6 weeks before convention. And yet they sent me to like 3 different tables. And finally at the 3rd table, I got registered. But this was a bit of a downgrade again from 2014 when things were a lot more organized and everything like that. Okay, so then I go to the guest section. And this was I have a video on the YouTube channel so you can see how weirdly set up the room is. Okay, it's like in the shape of a trapezoid. I'm in the very, very back. Okay, and then the room opens up about probably like 30 yards away. The room opens up a little bit more. Okay, but the speaker, fortunately, the acoustics in this room were very good because the actual stage and where all the speakers are going to speak is probably like a football field away. And the guest section, I thought it was kind of small. There was about probably enough seating for maybe 10, 15 people. Okay, but guess how many guests attended? It was like 3 people. Wow. I guess I'm like the only one who actually go to conventions for fun. Who knew? But our first speaker that day was P.J. Connolly, who is the mayor of Greenville, and he got elected back in 2017. And what he had to say, I really liked. And the neat thing about PJ is that he is a former baseball player, and he's only like a couple years older than me. So he's very young, and still he's mayor of which is a good thing because Greenville's a college town. I mean, East Carolina University makes up almost half of the population of Greenville. But PJ Connolly said that there's been a 20% decrease in crime. We have the lowest unemployment since the 1990s. There was an apprentice program recently started at Pitt County Community College there in Greenville, where you could pay $186, take a class, and at the end of that class, it was like a 1 semester class, you could make $15-20 an hour starting out as an electrician. He also reported that there's been, since he took over as mayor 2 years ago, 27 miles of newly paved roads using general funds out of Greenville's budget, along with no tax increases. The theme that PJ is trying to promote, Greenville means business. The meetings of the city council have gone from 4 hours to 2 hours. Okay. Now at that time we had to break because credentials were not in order. Okay. Now the question, and a little point of criticism here from yours truly, is why not have candidates speak while the credentials are being done? That's that's what they do a lot of times at state convention. Is they have, on Friday you hear from a lot of auxiliary groups and a few candidates, and also the same thing on Saturday too, but they try to keep the convention moving. This is only like a 12-minute break, but still, try to keep this convention moving along. Okay, I mean, we're gonna have a break for lunch anyway, but okay. Now let me read to you the Credentials Committee reports. Okay. Beaufort County had 21 delegates. Carteret County had 18 delegates. Camden County had 0. Chowan County had 13, which is very impressive because Chowan is a very severely rural county up in the northeast part of the state. Craven County, the big winners, 38 delegates. That's the New Bern area. 4 delegates were attended from Currituck County. That may seem like a low number, but it's a pretty long trip from Currituck, which is like as far north and east of the state as you can go, all the way. It's like almost 3 hours to Greenville. Very long trip. Dare County had 16 delegates. Greene County had 5 delegates. Hyde County had Jones County had 5. Lenoir County had 4 delegates, and I know who 2 of them are. Onslow County, the runner-up with 37 delegates. That is a very, very good red Republican area with Camp Lejeune and Jacksonville there. Pamlico County, pretty impressive, 13 delegates. Not bad for a small backwater county. Pasquotank County, 4 delegates. Perquimans County, 2 delegates. Pitt County, 7 delegates. A little disappointed, but then again, I told you earlier, East Carolina University is like half the population. Okay, Tyrrell County with 0 delegates, a grand total of 184 delegates. Quorum was set at 93 delegates for that day. Okay. Resolutions Committee. First, the Rules Committee was approved unanimously. That stuff's pretty, I've talked about rules before. It's pretty par for the course for conventions. Pretty standard stuff. Okay. There were 3 resolutions that were presented. Okay. There was a resolution on immigration that was read in its entirety. After that resolution, a motion was made to avoid reading the resolution except for the whereas, to avoid reading the whereas clauses, and just read the last, pretty much the last sentence of the last 2 resolutions. It passed overwhelmingly with an aye vote, but there were a few no's. So, chairman decided to go to a raising of the hands vote, and then Carl Miska said, "How can that few people make so much noise?" Okay, so we had a resolution on immigration, one on supporting the state treasurer Dale Folwell. Those 2, immigration resolution is very national. I don't really do national stuff on this channel. I've already talked about Dale Folwell and read a similar resolution in a previous video. But, okay, I am going to read to you resolution requiring approval for out-of-state resolutions. Excuse me. A resolution requiring approval for out-of-state financial contributions, okay? Whereas the successful election of Republican candidates to all elected offices in North Carolina should be the strategy of the North Carolina Republican Party. And whereas successful elections are financially straining at any level, national, state, or local, and whereas the current chairman and party leadership were elected to office in June 2017, and whereas critical campaign cycles showed Republican candidate losses in the North Carolina General Assembly, North Carolina Judiciary, as well as several county sheriffs and numerous local seats across the state. And whereas the North Carolina Republican Party should prioritize North Carolina Republican candidates and local county organizations for support. And whereas the North Carolina Republican Party has contributed a minimum of $765,000 to out-of-state political parties since the last leadership election in 2017. And whereas the NCGOP had contributed $330,000 to the Republican Party of Florida on October 10th of last year, and $400,000 to the Republican Party of Virginia in 2017. $200,000 and another $200,000 was given also to Virginia. And on September 19th of 2017, a $35,000 gift was given to the Republican Party of Georgia. Whereas the North Carolina Republican Party supports President Trump's message of America First, the same logic should be used in party operations and put North Carolina first. Therefore, be it resolved, the Onslow County Republican Party, aka 3rd District Republican Party, believes that any out-of-state contribution by the North Carolina Republican Party must first be approved by official vote of the NCGOP Executive Committee. The 3rd District GOP believes that before funds are contributed to out-of-state parties, substantial contributions should be made to each of the 100 local parties first to assist in continuing to elect local Republican candidates. Be it further resolved, the 3rd District Republican, the Onslow County Republican Party urges the North Carolina 3rd Congressional District to adopt this resolution and forward it to North Carolina Republican Party State Convention for consideration and adoption. Passage of this resolution amends the North Carolina Republican Party Plan of Organization by adding subsection 4G to Article 6, Section B that reads as follows. The State Executive Committee, by majority vote, must approve all out-of-state contributions. 50% of the members of the State Executive Committee must be present to constitute a quorum for the approval of out-of-state contributions. Ex officio members do not affect the quorum. Signed, Jonathan Merritt, Precinct Chair, Catherine Lake, CL09. Resolution voted on and passed at the Onslow County Republican Party Executive Committee meeting on March 9th of 2019. Lee Barrows signs as chairman. Very, very good resolution. Unfortunately, this did not make the cut for the state convention, but it could be brought up again at state convention. There has to be 1,000 copies printed, and it has to be presented on the convention floor, and it probably will be. It's a very good resolution. Why does the state party take money that we need here in North Carolina for our candidates to get elected? Why in the world would they send it to Florida, Georgia, Virginia, wherever other state it goes to? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm sure most other people it doesn't make sense either. Okay, wow. And Steve Radner, our good buddy Steve Radner of Beaufort County, amended the resolution that said Onslow, it replaced Onslow GOP with 3rd District. This was seconded by a gentleman from Craven County. It passed. And the resolutions committee chair said all resolutions passed at District 3 automatically go to the state resolutions committee with 3rd District as the author of the resolution and not the county party. Okay, well, this is going to be a two-parter on this 3rd District convention. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about all of the state candidates as well as the 3rd District congressional candidates. There was like 20 of them, right? That run for election back on April, I believe it was April 26, 27 was the day of this convention. Okay, so for now, this is the Conservative Pelican signing off.